Good evening, everybody. This is Gary DeGrazia Sr., and I want to welcome you to our second webinar, which is a makeup webinar for this past weekend, where we had some technical problems. Mainly, Vinny DeGrazia became a member of the family, and so I didn't have Gary, as you all know, for the weekend. But anyway, we got through Tuesday night, and we got through the week, and here we are. So I want to make sure if one of you can type in the bottom there that you can hear me, just give me the heads up so we'll make sure that we're coming live and well. Okay? Okay, Wally, good. You guys can all hear me now. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about probate leads, how we get them, how we start with the petition for probate, and you're going to have a choice that you're going to hear about tonight. And that choice is going to be either you're going to spend the time every week to go down and get your probate leads, which you're going to have to keep consistent. And what you're going to learn is this is not about going out and getting 50 probate leads and then working those 50 for the next 3 months until you get a deal. This is about having new, fresh leads coming in every month. And as you remember, I told you guys Tuesday night that I have from about 150 a month, right around between 100 to 150. Some months it's light and it's closer to 100. Other months it's 150. But most months are pretty close to 150 brand new probate files that just opened that have real estate in it. And that's based around the Bay Area, 5 counties. So if you're out of area or if you're in the Bay Area and you want to know how to get leads, which you need lifeblood, because this system is all about having about 25 conversations, a minimum of 10 to 25 conversations going on at any particular time with the states that you have talked to so that you will eventually get business coming. And then once you're into this thing, months, and you have 25 conversations going, they're going to come at different times when you're going to get business, either buying it as an investor or a real estate agent, you're bringing in a deal to double-end it or list it or whatever, okay? So I want you to think about probate leads tonight as not just one time buying 50 or going out and getting 50 and then sit on those for the next 3 or 4 months, because a lot of the leads that you get on a monthly basis, you're not going to make contact with the estate. About 70% of those will have phone numbers that we do up here in the Bay Area. Out of those 70% numbers that you'll get, you may not get anybody, even though you've called 3, 4, 5 times. Leaving messages don't work. You actually have to catch them there. And with the caller ID today going on, if people don't recognize your number, they're probably not going to answer. So you have to keep going. And maybe out of those 150 leads that came in this month, maybe you made 10 connections with people, and you got 10 conversations going on, and 4 or 5 of those were going to be now or later business. And the next month, you got another 3 or 4. And a month after that, maybe you had 7 or 8. And eventually, you're going to have 25 conversations going. And then what happened, those leads that you first talked to are going to materialize. They've been approved to be the court executor administrator. Now they're ready to roll maybe a month or 2 later. Or even when you get down to the final distribution 7 months later on that average probate time, they may be ready to do something then. So the key is to have fresh leads coming in every month. And what I'm going to show you is how we do it up here in the Bay Area and how I have 150 coming across my desk and how you're going to be able to access either the courts. If you're here in the Bay Area, there's Alameda County, Contra Costa County, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara that we work. We're adding Sonoma and Marin County. So if you're in those areas, you're going to have to know how to go get your leads. Some of them you can do online. Some of them you have to go direct to the courthouse. Or you're going to learn about a probate lead service that you can apply to and save the 2 hours per week per courthouse for researching that it's going to take for you to get that many leads, okay? Then if you're out of the area, we have now partnered up with a couple services. We're looking at a few other ones that if you're in SoCal or out of state, we're going to pretty much be able to hook you up with a lead service so you can start getting your leads, okay? So I want you to think about quality, quantity leads on a monthly basis. Okay, so in your session book, you should be at session 2, probate leads. I want you to turn the page. It says petition for probate. Now, is anybody not there? Type in the bottom if you're having trouble. It's your second session in the manual. We had intro session. We had first session, or session 1 that we did Tuesday night. Now we're doing session 2 tonight. Okay? And if we have time, we'll get into 3, but 3 could be a whole webinar by itself. Okay? So, Arthur, you said you could hear me, but it's cutting out a little bit, huh? Okay, well, hopefully that'll clear itself out, okay? Because I don't seem to be having that problem with any of the other. Oh, it's fine now. Fantastic. Okay. So petition for probate. What you're going to learn is the petition that we're going to go see, either direct or online, is going to give us all the information that we want. You're going to see how we start with page 2. Now, we're going to go into these samples tonight, but I'm just giving you an overview right now tonight. We're going to pull out the deceased name, the attorney who's working for the estate. They're going to get their phone number all the time, and a lot of times the email number is really all we want, because we really bypass the attorney until we have an offer accepted. Okay. Personal rep's name. The personal rep, the PR, is the person the deceased had singled out in their will to be either the executor because there was a will, or to be the administrator because there is no will, and the family is petitioning the court through the estate attorney for a family member to be the administrator. That's the only difference, okay? So we're going to have that person's name, we're going to have their address, and most of the time, their phone number. We're going to find on the petition estate if we have full or limited authority that we talked about Tuesday night. We're going to show you where to find the property that we're going after. Most of the time, this property where it's located on the petition is the property that we are going to be trying to buy, sell, or list. And we're going to have, like I said, an address for the PR, the relationship to the deceased, which is important to know if it's the spouse or if it's a child, son or daughter, or maybe a brother or sister or a mom or a dad. It comes in all shapes or forms. But you want to know that so you know how to approach the estate. We'll show you how to find that information out, and, of course, the phone number for the executive. So let's turn to the next page, and it's going to say Superior Court of California, County of Alameda. Okay? Now, if you're not there, type it in, and we'll make sure you get to this page. But it's the next page. Now, what this is the County of Alameda. Now, again, if you're not in Alameda County, or you're not working Alameda County, or you're out of state or SoCal, it doesn't matter. I'm showing you how this works because your area is going to be somewhat similar. So if you go to your Superior Court in your county, if you don't know where that is, just Google Superior Court in Alameda County or Superior Court in whatever county you're in. And it's going to take you there. You might even be able to put domain in there, /domain, and it'll take you to the online site. But you'll get a head page. And what happens for those that are online, you're going to see the domain web, which is page here. You see in the bottom where it says go to the domain web? So we click on that and go to the next page, and this will pop up. And here's all the options that we could do online. So what we're looking for is in the right corner circle which says Public Report Filings. And that's what we're going to click on to go to the next page, which is going to pop up the Court of Alameda County Superior Court. And by default, it always shows Berkeley Courthouse, and it always shows the general civil or limited case filings. That's default. And you can see those are drop-down boxes, and there's also a date, because you can actually search on a per-day basis. Like today, which is Thursday, they probably have everything updated up through Wednesday, yesterday, 5 o'clock, and there's probably even some files today on there already, okay? But we'll show you how we do this. So what we do is click on that Superior Court drop-down box, and that's going to come to Renee C. Davidson, which is our Superior Court in Alameda County, okay? So, like, we have about 6 or 7 titles there when you click on the drop-down box. You have to know what court is your Superior Court, because the other ones will be satellite courts. And now, today, most Superior Courts control all the files for all the satellite offices. Where in the past, 20 years ago, you could go to the satellite offices. I could go to Hayward, to Fremont, and at Pleasanton, and actually find files there as well. So now everything has been consolidated, and now they're even gone to a lot of it online, okay? So the next thing, we would hit the drop-down box that on the first page said General Civil Limited, and we click on probate, and that's what we want, and then, of course, the date that we're looking. Now, what we do is, like today, I was in San Jose. I had to do the San Jose researching today. My researcher wasn't here, was out of town. So I went there today, and I clicked on today's date, okay, and I went back to the files from last Monday, or actually not Monday because it was a new month, from October 1st up through yesterday. And it pulled all the files for me, and then I start going through those on a day-to-day basis. But what I'm going to show you, if you click on, let's say this date, 9/8/2014, or whatever date it happens to be when you go on there, what's going to pop up is the next page. And if you look at this page, you should be there, you're going to see, I wrote in there 4 leads. There's 4 leads on 8/14/2014. Now don't try to connect the prior page with this and the dates are wrong. These are just samples. Usually what happens, whatever date you click on, it pops up. This page with the 4 leads on it will show the current date that you're at, okay? Now, if you can see where I drew the arrows on these and made asterisks next to some of these court case numbers to the left. To the left column is the court case number. In the middle is the case title. What's it about? You can see they're all probate because we went to the probate section. And the case type, where you see I have other arrows drawn, this tells me which files have the petition for probate, the notice to petition in it. And we're only concerning ourselves for that particular day with those files because the other ones are not going to have the information yet in the file. So there's no sense wasting our time. So as you can see, there were 4 leads there that said probate and will, and actually it's probate and will and letters of administration. And then the last one just said letters of administration. So the key is probate and letters of administration. When you see that, that tells us the petition is there, okay? Now this is the way it is for the Alameda County. In Contra Costa, as you will see, I have to go direct to the courthouse. My researcher goes once a week, pulls out all the data. It's all there, as you'll see in a moment. San Francisco is, we can go online for part of it. San Mateo, we can go online for part of it. San Jose, we have to go direct, okay? So what we're showing to you, this here is online for the County of Alameda, okay? Now, if you turn to the next page, I wrote in there, County of Alameda is the same leads as the prior page, but you see I wrote in there TIP, T-I-P. And those arrows that I pointed to the right, I circled will received 3 times. Does anybody not see that? Okay, what that tip is for you is as you start gathering these, you want to save your daily sheets. I keep every daily sheet, and I keep it on a clipboard because what I do is as I'm into the month and doing all the live stuff that I have, the now business and talking to estates and tracking on the ones that we have, I can go back to these will receive dates and pull up that court case file maybe in a couple months, and there's the notice of petition will show up. There's no rhyme or reason why some are there at the beginning and some other ones take for a while. And just understand that if things are slow in your county that you're working, maybe you only have 10 or 15 leads a month that have the petitions there. That if you go back and check the will receive ones that didn't have the petition and check those each month or every couple months or 3 months, whatever you want to do, you'll start pulling up those files that did not have the petition on the day you went in, but now have them 2, 3, 4 months later, and now you can start in. And I guarantee you, most people that are tracking probates are not doing this, okay? So that's a little bit of a tip for you. So is there any questions right now going online to this particular county on accessing the files, okay? Keep it in mind, your county may be a little different, but it's going to follow somewhat the same suit, so just learn what I just told you and start with your probate court clerk at the Superior Court and ask them how do you access files there if you're having any type of trouble. Or you go down to the file room where all the files are, it's family law, civil, everything's there, and ask them, how do I access probate case course? They're going to ask you for the probate case file number. You're going to say, well, I don't have that. How do I find out what's been filed and all that? They're going to give you some type of system that you do, okay? And you'll be fine. And just keep in mind, if you have a hard time with this and you can't do it, then you're going to have a very hard time being successful with probate real estate, okay? And a lot of people quit just because of this. The reason we have added a probate lead service to our subscription is because when we surveyed our students, we were asking for the reason they haven't been successful or stopped working probates, and one of the top 1 or 2 reasons was it was probate leads. They could not be consistent enough to have them, and they weren't getting anywhere. So that's why we decided, well, we're doing this for ourselves. Let's do this for our probate lead students, and that way, because there's 150, on a good month for us, we might do 4. So there's 150, probably more than half are selling. There's a lot of leads out there. And also keep in mind that most people will quit after 3 to 6 months if they haven't done a deal. We talked about this Tuesday night, that it took me 2 years, okay? So don't you be one of those in the 90% bracket. You be the ones in the 10% bracket where I live, and that you're going to stay with this. You're going to be dedicated, you're going to be committed, and you're just going to be consistent and keep moving forward, okay? And we're going to show you how you can make this a little easier on the leads, especially if you're in the Bay Area, okay? So that's that. I want to turn to the next page, and it should be the County of Contra Costa on the top. That's the Superior Court of the County of Contra Costa. This is another county of our 5 that we currently research, and every week my researchers are there, and again, they spend an hour to 2 hours there gathering. Contra Costa is probably one of our lightest counties. They're probably between 20 to 30 leads a month, sometimes a little bit more. But we want every one of them because that includes a lot of nice areas in Contra Costa County with great price ranges, okay? So Contra Costa, what I put here is if you went to that website, to the Contra Costa County, you would see this, and it's giving me all the information, and it asks you what court you want to go to, what division, and you go to probate court. If you look at the next page, it tells you where the court records are. So they are not online with their probate stuff, or at least what we need, the information-wise. So we actually have to go here. So this tells me where the court records are on Ward Street and Martinez, okay? So we go direct there. Now, when you go direct, remember we go on a weekly basis, and we're going to keep track of the starting case number we looked at and the ending case number. We keep track of each one, because when you come back, the files could be out of sequence, but it just took longer to get over there than another one that maybe was a later number. So you want to make sure you're tracking what you've been there, even if it didn't have any real estate in it. I'll write the number down when I'm there that day, or trade my researcher to do that, and they'll put a check if there was real estate, or if there wasn't, and we know there wasn't when we come back. If there was a check that there was real estate, we know when we come back looking at that running case court file that we don't have to go through that file again because it might be there. So go to your next page, and it's going to say Contra Costa County File Room for Probate Files. There'll be a picture there, and you got 2 files on the counter, a black file to the left, and a green files to the right. Does anyone not see that? Okay. So what this is where we access the files in Contra Costa. Completely different, right? Here, they put up all the files that have been freshly established and opened by the estate attorney, which has that petition for probate in it that we want and other documents. and they put them in the bin on top so people can go through them. Because a lot of people go through these files, the civil cases, probates for other reasons, not for our reasons, and there's also other people looking for real estate that are going through these files. And when you go through it, you open the file up, you go to the notice of petition, and I'm going to explain in a minute what we're looking for. Okay? So keep track of all the file cases you went through each week so you're not duplicating time when you're there. Now you have to know what time your courtrooms are open. Almost all of them are open at 8:30 in the morning, but some of them will close by 2:30 in the afternoon. This one, I believe, closes at 12:30 or 1:30. They're done, and you can't get in there anymore. So then we set up our schedule for our researchers to make sure they understand. So when you're going down there to your particular county, if that's what you're going to do, you're going to do your own leads. Make sure you understand not only where the files are and how to get there, but whether they're opening hours and there's certain days of the week. Maybe they're only doing this on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. They have it accessible, or it's every day till a certain time. So make sure that you understand that, okay? And of course, as you start doing this, if you're doing yourself on your own leads and you have a problem, you guys are subscriber members with us. You're diamond farming students with us. Just shoot us an email, and we'll help you out on, what's not working right for you, okay? All right, so let's go to the next page. And this is going to say where we gather all the pertinent information. Then it's going to say notice of probate, petition for probate, 4 pages, and duties and liabilities. We're going to talk about that now, okay? Go to the next page, and what you're going to see is my probate tracking sheet, which copies of this was in the manual that you received. This is just my sheet that my researchers work off of. All my bird dogs work off of this. All my network agents work off of this. And we list everything that we need to know about that probate. And we're getting all this information from the petition for probate, which you are going to see in a minute. I've given a few examples. On this first one, if you see upper left corner, estate information, deceased name, well, of course, that's the person that passed away. And the file number, that's the case number. So we have it there. So if we send a flyer or made a phone call and they called us back in 6 months and said they want to do something, well, we can go to this page and go get the file number and go right to Contra Costa or San Jose or whatever it may be and ask for that particular file number or open it up online, and we have all the data that has happened since our first contact, and it'll tell us a lot of information. You see what the attorney's name is there, Amy Reed, her email address and her phone number, 831 number. Important stuff. Now, a little tip. If you try calling attorneys to get to them and ask them for business, it's going to be a hard road to go, and you're going to get discouraged with probate real estate, and you're going to be out in 6 months. The way to do this is the way we do it. We do the deal and get involved and get that deal, as you will see later on in different sessions on how I do this. And we control that deal before the estate attorney really even knows, most of the time. And then once we're in that deal, we service that attorney. Regardless if we're an agent or an investor, we're going to service that attorney, make their life easier, do a few things for them, really stay on top of the transaction and let them see that we're pros. And when the deal's all done, we're going to ask them for a letter of recommendation that we write and just ask them if they would sign it. And it's very generic. It says that we did what we said we did, and blah, blah, blah. There was no surprises. And that's how you're going to build rapport with attorneys, because 9 out of 10 times when you call, you're going to reach their gatekeeper and you're not going to get through to them anyway. Okay? So go the back door to attorneys. And then when you're doing deals, let the deal help you to start working with that attorney, then start working with them. Tell them, this is what you do, and anything that comes his way or her way that may work for you, you would appreciate a chance to make an offer on it or to pitch for the listing or sale. Okay? And you go to the upper right corner, contact information, that says the executor's name. That is the PR. That is the petitioner. That is the executor, that is the administrator. Lawrence Pollard III. His address. We're going to show you where to get all this information in a minute. You can see where he lives in Los Gatos, his phone number, his relationship to the deceased's son. Okay? Now, wouldn't you agree, or is there anyone that doesn't agree, that this is all valuable information when you are going to the estate to make sure what they're going to do with the property you want to find out? This is very valuable information. And keep in mind, 95% are not of your competition, other investors or other agents, do not have this information unless they know how to do this. And the ones that do know it, most of them, unless they're my students and going with continual education with me and taking my free webinars when I have them and doing all the resources that we have, you're still not going to do a deal without some help from me. And again, remember what I told you Tuesday night. This is why I do all this. Yeah, there's a little money involved, not much, okay? But it brings me deals, all right? I've been on an appointment every day this week pitching for sales. We couldn't buy one on Monday, but we're getting the listing and we have a buyer for it. That'd be a retail buyer. We are on a Berkeley house with an artist retreat. I'm fighting another agent for it, but it looks like we're going to get it. We're going to give them the number they want. I'm on a duplex in Oakland, a fourplex in Berkeley, all from my network of diamond farming students, my bird dogs, and my network agents that we work with, okay? That's how fabulous this is for everybody. So that's why my number one priority is making sure I have as many people as possible out there well-trained doing these deals, because I know it's going to take 3 to 5 deals that you complete that are probably going to go through me before you're standalone. And then a lot of times I'll still be involved later because they like how we handle the real estate side, so the investors want us to work with them. They want us to partner up with them with money. They just want to be the buyer and have us finance it for them. So this is continually bringing business for us. Okay, back to the probate sheet, tracking sheet. So in the middle there you see subject property information. That's the property in question. This one happens to be in Carmel Valley. It's a trust, as you can see. So this trust, now when it's a trust, we normally won't have a value on the petition, okay? So, but we know it's in trust, and that's easy. If we can buy this or sell it for them or whatever, we don't have to go through probate at all. Under personal property is where we list if there's a bond or not. Sometimes they have to have a bond. Remember we went through the notice of petition that there's a bond that they have to put up to handle the affairs of the estate. Well, this is where it will tell us this, because if that bond is $400,000 and that executor has to put up 40 grand to take it out of the court process, they're probably not going to want to do that or can't do that to help you get your deal. So you're going to have to either put up the 40 grand yourself as the investor, and it's a little bit of risk money because you got to make sure you're going to get the deal, right? Or you pass on it, okay? Or agents, you would just try to list it or whatever you have to do. But this is how we squeak out extra deals every year on these properties that most wouldn't do and most never even see, because most people, like I said, 95% of your competition, agents and investors, don't even know about this niche or the way it's worked the correct way. Excuse me. Most of them, all they know about it is they've got a relationship with an estate attorney. He or she is a family member or a college buddy, and they're getting listings from that guy and basically being dictated to. Well, that's not how we work, okay? You go down a little bit more, will information. Really, the only thing we use there now is full authority. So if the box's chart is marked with a check right there, that tells us the PR is petitioning the court to have full authority. You're going to see where that is on the petition in a minute, and that means we can pull that property out of the court system. If it's marked no, that means they have limited authority, and they can do a lot of things, but they can't sell the real estate without going through the court system, unless you're good enough, as we are, that we explain to them why they want to, and we're going to get them to petition the courts for full authority rather than limited. You can change it. The only time you can't is if there's a will, and the will states that the sale has to go through court confirmation, then you're stuck with that. But a will or no will doesn't make a difference. If estate's limited or full authority doesn't make a difference. You can get the limited change. If there is a bond, sometimes you can get the bond waived, but most of the time we're going to have to deal with it, okay? And then on the bottom here, heirs with interest. In the old days, I used to list every heir, but I don't do it too much unless they are a player in the property. Maybe they're living in there and they're going to be my contact, but they're not the executor. And then I put our search dates. Now, 9/1 to 9/15, this is a fresh probate lead last month. 9/1 to 9/15 is the batch that this came into. So all of my subscribers who subscribe to our probate tracking lead service, which you'll hear about in a moment, they receive every 2 weeks all of these, what you're looking at, probate tracking sheets completed, the title scrubbed, phone number provided most of the time, and it's delivered to their email every 15 days. So you're not spending the 2 hours plus driving time or 2 hours on your computer every week per county getting these yourself. You're just taking the leads and jumping on it and calling the estate and doing the way we do it to try to get yourself an appointment. Now, yes, I keep this kind of limited. You know, I'm not flooding the zone with this, but there is competition, of course, but you were going to have competition anyway. So this way you're getting your lead with all the information, you're bypassing all that time you have to go collect it, and you're going after the estate. And keep in mind, it could be a month before somebody actually get a hold of PER, because just by missing them, they got so much on their plate, and just because somebody else called before you doesn't mean that you're not going to get them on that fourth call that went to the estate, okay? So it's just not something to concern yourself with. It's being consistent is the concern. So let's go to the next page. This is the tax rolls. Now this is another service that I have that runs the tax rolls for me. It tells me the property the deceased owned, or who owns the property listed on the petition, which you're going to see in a moment. Because this is how we scrub title to check that that property listed on the petition is in fact the property that's owned by the deceased. Because many times that is a wrong address that's put there. It's address for the convalescent hospital they died in, they were living at, or a brother or family member that they were staying in their last days. It's not necessarily their real estate, but they're listing real estate value, as you're going to see where in a moment. Well, they own some real estate. Well, where is it? Well, what we do with our tracking and research is we track that. We track title to see if they own that property and what else do they own. Now, if you look at this where I circled on the top, there's Lawrence Pollard II. That's the guy that passed away. You can also see that it's a trust. To the right there says TR. That answers the question why we didn't have any value, because you don't have to have the value in a trust in the probate. And up in the top, you'll see Carmel Valley. Carmel, that's our subject property. But look at to the right of that, Old Mine Road, Los Gatos. That is most likely their residence. So now we just found out that there's two properties that they own, not one. And the one listed on the petition that you're going to see soon is in fact a property they own. So now you got two leads to go after. Because this is what you don't want to happen. You don't want to call them up and say, hey, this is Gary D. You know, I'm calling you regarding 123 Main Street. I understand it's in probate, and you're the guy to talk to, and I would like to buy that property. I like that area. And they're going to say, well, that's not our property. That's the convalescent hospital my uncle passed away at. Now, what are you talking about? Who are you? So what did you just do? You just blew all your credibility. Now, most all lead services around the country do not scrub title, and they do not provide phone numbers. Even the sources that I'm going to give you tonight, if you're out of the Bay Area, unfortunately, they don't scrub title and they don't provide phone numbers. But it's a starting point for you if you need something to get going, and that would be basically on a flyer basis, and if you get some information, you kind of work backwards, okay? But for those of you that are in the Bay Area, you'll have my service available to you if you want it. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's go to the next page. So here's another probate tracking sheet. And this one happens to come out of Martinez Courthouse for Conocausta County, okay? You're all aware of that, right? The last one we just did in Carmel was out of the Santa Clara County. So now we're in Conocausta County, and we see Frederick Pyle is the deceased up top. There's a file number for the court case number at the Conocausta Courthouse. So if I ever went back there, there's a little slip in that same courtroom file section that you go to check out on a weekly basis. You put a slip together with that court case number, and he'll pull you the file, and you can go all through it and see if there's any updates and all that, okay? We have the attorney address, email address, and that's really the only thing I use with the attorney is their email, because I know that has a good chance to get to them. Some attorneys have their secretaries and personal assistants even answer their emails, but most of them will get them, and that's going to give you a little bit better shot to get a hold of that attorney. Okay, then a phone number, so when you are in a deal with them, you can call and say, hey, I'm calling about the Smith estate. I'm Gary D. We just sent you the letter yesterday, and the contract, it's in there. I want to make sure you got it, blah, 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 how you doing? Okay, and later on you'll see how we work that. And then the contact information, so there's the executor's name, Eric Pyle, his address, his phone number. He's the son, so now we know who we're playing with. Subject property. So the property that we're talking about here is Golden Rain number 3, Walnut Creek. The estate put a value on it for $230,000. Now that value is not an appraised value. It's usually an educated opinion or guess. Sometimes it's on. Most heirs in estates kind of know the area value, so it's never that far off, but occasionally it will be. And if it's way out of proportion high, then I know I'm probably going to have somewhat of a difficult job explaining them the true value and getting a wholesale deal out of that, right? It's just an indicator. It doesn't mean anything. We still work it the same way. And then it tells us there's no bond, personal property. Go down to will information, full authority. So that tells us we can get out of court. And then again, the search date, 9/1 through 9/15. Okay? Next page will be the scrub of that title. Now this was the one and only property. But it's what happened now. We scrubbed the title to verify that Golden Rain is in fact their property. And it also looks like it was their principal place of residence. Because the site address on top and the mail address on top are the same. Capiche? All right, so let's go next page. Now we're repeating this form I did at the beginning. It's for a reason. We're again looking at the petition for probate because we're going to get into it now. And we're going to talk about all this information and how you get it. And this is the form you're going to either online, excuse me, or direct at the courthouse. And that's going to start your search if you're not on the lead service. So the next page, you're going to see the petition for probate with a bunch of circles and all kinds of stuff. Is anybody not there? And let's take a sound check. Is everybody okay with the sound? Just somebody give me a yowza. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. So with the petition for probate, what we do, this is a 4-page form. All 4 pages are here. And what I want you to do right now is go to page 2. And does everybody see where I circled $650,000? Anybody not see that on page 2 of the petition for probate? Okay, we're good. This is the first page you're going to check, whether you're online or you are going direct. Because what it says there is the gross fair market value of the real estate to the left of the $650,000. And with that number being there, now we know what? We know there's real estate in this estate, so we're going to spend time on this file and gather all our information and then try to make contact. So $650,000 is a value the estate puts on it, so we put that on our tracking sheet and go back to the first page. Now, if you look down at the bottom, number 1, that's our petition for probate. Everybody see that? That's the form. Number 2 should be the court case number. Actually, number 2 is the real estate on your form, but it's the first place we go to. That's the $650,000 that we were just at. Number 3 is telling me who the estate attorney is, and also the court case number to the right. You see kind of a half-assed number 3 there. That's a court case number. And if you look right under that court case number, do you all see November 4th, 2014? What that means is this PR, who's Robert Smith III, is going to go to court on November 4th to be approved, in this case to be the administrator of the estate. And I'll explain that in the body here. So let's go back here to number 4 on top. There's our attorney, Jennifer D8. And I circled her phone number, her email address. That's all we care about for her. Okay, put it on our probate tracking sheet where we showed you. And then we go down a little bit. We already checked Robert Smith III. Okay, that's our deceased. Go down to number 5 where it's circled. That tells us who the PR is and who either the executor or the administrator is going to be. And it's 2 people in this case, Robert Smith III and Rachel Smith. So we put them, I put one of them on top in that right-hand corner of the probate tracking sheet, and I put the other one down where the heirs are, and I write co-executor in there for her. Okay? And if you go back under petitioner number 2, look at the box that's checked that says administrator. That's how I knew they're going to be an administrator. Okay? If they were executor in the first box under item 2B, first box says executor, that would have been checked. Does anybody not see that? Okay? And I'll show you why that was marked in administrator, which you can see pretty soon. Number 6 is very important. This is item 2C. And see where the box is marked, full authority is checked, and right to the right of full is limited authority. So it's full, checked, and to the right of limited authority says be granted to administer under the independent administration of estate tax. Bingo. That's what it is. Now we know that we can pull this sale out of court and not go through the court confirmation process and all that rigmarole, 10% down, 90% appraisal, and all that stuff, okay? 2D says bond. And see where it says bond not required? So there's no bond that we're dealing with in this case. That's another good thing. If there was a bond, number D2, where the dollar sign and a blank is there, right underneath bond not required, they would pencil it in or write in what the amount of the bond is. It could say $100,000, $500,000, whatever, and then understand that whatever that bond amount is, 10% of that bond would be what they have to put up. Okay? All right? Good. Then if you go all the way down to the left corner, that is Tina Way, is the address of the property that we are saying is in fact the property of the deceased. So that $650,000 property is based on the Tina Way property. So what we do now is we go to page 4 of the petition for probate. And if you look, I've circled Rachel and Robert Smith. This is the page that has all the name and addresses of the heirs and their relationship. So you can see that Rachel lives at Tina Way, the subject property, and so does Robert. Okay, so they're the children. And this in the past has been a very lucrative situation because the kids are living in that subject property. A lot of times they want to sell it and get out of there, you know, grab the money and run. So that's how we gather this information. Now, I want to go back to page 3. Page 3, where I put the X on the petition for probate. Go one page back. I want you to go to item, hold on a second. My eyes are failing me and I don't have my cheaters on. Let's see what I wanted for you guys. Okay, I'm sorry. I want you to go to petition for probate, page 2, where the real estate value of $650,000 was. Is everybody there? Okay, go up about midway to item 3E, and there's an X in the box that said decedent died intestate. That means no will. And that's why the PR is applying for administrator rather than executor, because there was no will to appoint him to be the executor. The administrator is the same person, does the same things, just called different. Okay? All right. So now you know where we go to get all of the information that's filled out in those probate tracking sheets of mine. That's where I get it. And that's all we have to do. So if you're getting your own leads, you just want to make sure the petition is there before you go into that and spend time, and then grab all this information, because that's how you're going to make contact and know what you got to know. Now I want to go past the last page, past that last 4 page where the heirs' names and addresses were, and you're going to go to a form. There's 2 pages called Duties and Liabilities of the Personal Representative. Is anybody not there or having trouble with that? Okay, if you will go to page 2 of this form, you see where I circled it about halfway, a little more than halfway down. It says number 9. There's the address at Tina Way, which is the address, again, verifying of the administrator in this case, or it could be the executor, if there was a will. And guess what? There's the phone number for Robert and the phone number for Rachel. And keep in mind, this is all public information, folks, okay? And that's why we do this in subscription form. Our Diamond Farming students subscribe to our service, our training, and those that happen to be in the Bay Area will pick up the leads that comes in that subscription service. That's just part of the total service that we do, okay? So that's how we get the information. Now, before we go further, I want to know if there's any questions from anybody on going to the petition to get the information that we have. I want to allow a little time here. We're doing great on schedule, so we have a time to take a few questions. And of course, if you don't get an answer, or you just don't want to do it here, you want to do it later, you just send me, Gary D. at Mr. Probate at gmail.com, and I'll answer those for you. But right now is the opportune time, because we're making the time to do this. And there's not many of us, on here tonight, about 7 or 8, that are taking this lead, or taking this the stream session that wasn't available Saturday. So we're making this up for you. Okay? What is the purpose of the bond? Good question, Arthur. A lot of times the bond will be put in place and requested either by the family members because they're fighting amongst themselves and they don't trust the person that's going to be the PR, even though nobody else wants to do it. They want to make sure that there's a bond put up so the assets of the estate are protected. The bond will usually be an amount of the assets of the estate. Or sometimes the estate attorney will require it because he thinks maybe he's dealing with a flake, or maybe just with a person that just doesn't have the capacity to figure everything out, and he wants to make sure that the court is overlooking everything. Okay? For whatever the reason is, we have to deal with that bond. Either get it waived, if you can, or deal with it as far as if you're getting a good deal, put up the bond cost if it's not too crazy, and you got your deal wired in, you're going to get that back at the end. Okay? Or if you have to pay, and that was the cost of the bond, and that costs $40,000, well, you're going to get the house $40,000 cheaper. It's going to compensate itself out. Okay. Okay. Question, Gary. Do you use a specific software database for your lead gathering? I used to use Instant Impact. We've used Top Producer in the past. And right now I don't. What I do right now is because I have a team and I got bird dogs and I got network agents and I'm establishing in each county, I keep my probate tracking sheets, and then they all keep the leads that they're working on with the conversations that they've gotten. And then when we need to call up the probate tracking sheet, I just pull it up. Okay? It's kind of dinosaur. I hate the Excel program's one-line item. That is most of the probate lead services, because it just doesn't have a much. I'm very visual, and I like to see everything and then kind of look at everything, not just one thing at a time. And I just what works for us. And keep in mind, I have 150 coming across my desk every month, but I'm only concerned with the ones that have raised their hand. So maybe each month we're working on 5 to 10 new ones. That's not very hard to keep manageable, okay? All right. All right, question. Okay. Gary Jr. was answering, so, okay, I'm very clear. Do we send a letter and make this call? I'm not quite sure what your question is. Are you saying, do we send a letter to the executor, to the PR? Yeah, this is not the session for contacting the estate, Wally. So let's don't waste time on that. You're going to be, thoroughly taught on how we do that. This is just the information that when you go to learn that, you'll know where you're getting it. Okay? Sounds good? Okay, so we're all good with all this stuff so far? No other questions? Okay, so go to your next page. You're going to see probate data. And if you look on your screen, you see probatedata.com. That is the link to Mike Torres down in SoCal, who's a contemporary of mine, and he teaches probates himself and has a probate lead service that's in about 4 or 5 states now. He's also up here in the Bay Area, but we've connected with each other. For my purpose was for my students that are in SoCal, San Diego, and in these other states that he deals with, that they could get his lead service, rather than nothing at all. So they don't have to go directly and do it themselves. So I negotiated with Mike, and he charges almost a $500 fee to start in with him, and then it's $75 a month, I think, somewhere around there. So I was able to get $495 waived for my students. So what I do is send them down to Mike. I register your name if you're in SoCal or wherever you're at in the states that he works. He's mostly the western states. And you can subscribe to his service. And that would be where you would go probate data. But what I would recommend you guys to do is shoot me an email first with all your contact info and say, hey, I want to get the leads. I'm in San Diego. Tell me what county you're in. And then I would send that down to Mike and have them contact you. So now they know you're one of my students, you're registered, and you're going to get that better deal. Okay? But understand, title's not going to be scrubbed, so you're going to have to check that yourself. And they're not going to provide you phone numbers, so you're going to have to find those out yourself. So whether or not the service is valuable or not, you'll determine that, but it's better than nothing for those of you that may be working 40, 50 hours a week and you can't do this yourself. Okay? It's there. So that's probate data. Okay? Now, what's their upload time for new filings? I believe, Gary, do you remember? I forget what they told me. Now, I think they're, you got to go to the website, it'll tell you, okay? That might be weekly. If they're getting it from the courthouse, they have to go direct. I don't think it's daily, it's probably weekly. But just keep in mind, you're going to have to do another step. You're going to have to scrub the title yourself and find the phone number, because that's the best way to approach is the phone number first. But if you go to probatedata.com, and if you have questions there, just post your questions, tell them you're one of my students, I sent you there, and they'll answer you, they'll take care of you, okay? All right? I'm sorry, Walt, I didn't know what their upload time is, all right? So that's probatedata.com. Now turn the page, and you're going to go to U.S. Probate Leads. And what I want you to do, you can look at all this stuff later, but go to the 4th page of theirs, and it's going to say a special offer for DeGrazia webinar attendees. And what this is he's going to give you a discount, I think it's 25% or whatever on the leads. And he's costly, okay? It's a 10% off or something like that. I forget what it is. But he's costly on his leads. And what he does is sells leads by the number. You want 50 leads, it's this price. You want 100 leads, it's this price. He can go back a number of months. And again, if you don't have any other source, it's a good source. It's a little costly, but if you don't have any other way to get this information, then my suggestion is you do it, because you connect on one deal, and if you're an investor and you make 40, 50 grand on the flip, or an agent that you double end the deal and make 18 grand, and it's well worth what you're paying for your leads, right? One connection would pay for leads for a long time if that was their case. But if you can see, he's got a price page there, and it's from $180 a month for like 25 leads, all the way up to $320 for 100 leads. And you can get all the leads, and I've seen some of his price points at $1,000 a month. So it's quite expensive, but again, if you put it all in context, it's probably not if you have no other way of doing it yourself, okay? All right? So, you go there, go online, and you let them know you're one of our students. They'll work out a deal for you, okay? Now, let's go to the next page, and it's going to be the diamond farming probate leads. And what you're going to see in your book is the 5 counties that we service. And on average, 150 probate leads per month that we get. Now, if you're interested in this service, all you got to do is email Gary Jr., and his email is on the manual page, Gary Jr. at thediamondfarm.com. Tell him you're interested in the lead service, and this is for, again, Contra Costa County, Alameda County, San Francisco, Santa Clara, and San Mateo County, all 5 counties. And what we do, if you turn the page, here's again that old diamond farming probate tracking sheet. We actually scan this sheet and send it to you. Along with, if you turn the page, the title scrub. And if you'll notice back on the tracking sheet where I put the arrow in diamond farming, we're supplying you with the phone number when they're there, which is about 70% of the time. And we're scrubbing the title and also adding other properties if they own, okay? And what we do is we send on the 15th of the month, we do our batch, and then we send 2 business days after the 15th so we can get the whole time in. So if the 15th is on a Saturday, then the leads would go to you that Tuesday. And if the last day of the month, the 30th or the 31st, comes on Monday, then you would have the leads emailed to you on Wednesday. They come just like this, the scan and the scrub title page. We've checked it. And if there's an issue with the title, and if they own multiple properties, we'll shoot that form to show the multiple properties, and we add that to be a 3rd page. Okay? And that cost is $97 a month for all 5 counties. And that's part of our subscription costs because we're just not selling leads here. What we're selling is an ongoing training. You're going to, like what we're doing tonight, I do these webinars usually twice a month. I do a jump start to help you get going when you're brand new with me, and then I do a topic per month. Maybe it's probate leads 1 month. Maybe it's how to contact the estate. Maybe it's how to write your offer or other topics that we need. And we do that month in and month out, so you have continual education. And that subscription cost, after you buy your course for the $197, then the monthly subscription is $97 a month if you want everything that I just told you about, including the leads here. Now, if you're out of this area, you bought your course, that's all you charge because we're not including the package, but you'll still get your bulletin board. You'll still get the access to the webinars each month, okay? But on the 97 subscription, you'll never pay for anything that we do training-wise, okay? As long as you're in good shape there with us. So all you have to consider is, do I have the time to do this? Remember I told you that one of the number 1 reasons my students have not made a go at this is because they couldn't get consistent leads, or they bought, they bought leads, or they got their own leads 50 and they stayed with that and never did anything else. And that is not the right way to do this. You need leads coming in every 2 weeks. You're working them, they're fresh. It takes you about a week to 2 to get through all the leads and connect with everybody, and then you got another batch coming in. On average of anywhere from 50 to 75 every 2 weeks. With real estate, most of them have, phone numbers on it. So if that's valuable to you, and it's your choice, then go to the email that I gave you and ask them for the link so you can sign up for those services, and we'll get you right going with you. Okay, what we do is, like, on the 15th of this month, the October 1st through the 15th is coming out, but if you were to sign up, like 5 people signed up this week already for it, and we sent September leads, the last 2 weeks of September, so they had something to get going until the next set goes. Okay? All right, any questions on that? Do you think something crashed, Wally, or you're not hearing me? Are you okay? Walt, you're okay? Everybody else, anybody else not hearing me? Wally, Adams, how about you? What makes you think something crashed? Okay, did you jump off and then jump back on or something like that? Okay, so it looks like you're okay. All right? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to let you guys go tonight based on the probate leads and how to get to those, because the next session, contacting the estate, is almost a 2-hour session on its own, because I'm going to go through exactly what we do. We're going to go through all the scripts that we do. We're going to go through the flyers that I use, and we're going to spend a lot of time on the scripts. So you need to understand everything we're doing there. And I think if we went right now, we got people out of state, this would really put them too late. So we're going to move this one till next Tuesday's session, and I'm going to spend the whole session on contacting the estate for you guys, because what we got going right now is all the meat and potatoes of the system, okay? And we got a lot to cover, you know, over the next 4 weeks, and I'll make sure you get it all. We had some scripts of some of the speakers that spoke this weekend, which was our business coach, Steve Napolitan, and he's going to send his files out, his presentation, to anybody that wants it. And we're on his system. He's revamping all of my website. If you've seen it now, he revamped all of it. He's getting how we brand. Him and Gary Jr. did a great job on that. He is rebranding me, how to brand differently for EXP. And if you're serious about that end of your business, then it's something you might want to know about, okay? And he gave it just a fantastic deal for my students at the weekend. And there's an upcoming session he's going to do. We had one of my hard money lenders speak, so we'll go over the details on that. Gary Jr. did Calling the Estate. Now he'll be on Tuesday night and be going through his slides on the mindset of making a call on what to do. You've never going to hear this from anybody that's ever been better at this, I'm telling you. He's a Mike Ferry guy for you agents on here that know that. He's been with me for probate and has refined the probate call. He's worked with some top producers, and he's done outside the real estate world a lot of phone prospecting, so he's a master at it. So him and I will be doing this together, and he's going to give you a take on it that will help you guys all out, okay? So I'm going to cut you guys loose tonight. Is there any last questions about how to access the courthouse in your areas? What you should be doing right now, if you're out of the Bay Area, or if you're within the Bay Area and you're going to collect your own leads, is you should be contacting the county that you're going to work, contacting the probate clerk's office, or just the file section for that Superior Court. And probably a good idea would be to go down there in your lunch hour or something and ask them, how do we access the files? Because you're going to need to know this. Or, you know, find out, ask us some more questions about the lead service. We'd be happy to get you involved there. Okay? All right, guys. I don't see any more questions. I think we're okay. I thank you all for your time tonight. We do appreciate you all. And we will see you. Have a great weekend. Remember, Columbus Day is Monday. That's a big day in the Italian world. Any Italians are on here. So enjoy your weekend, and we will see you same time, 6 o'clock, next Tuesday night. Thank you much.